All right, what's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Just want to speak on this Terence Crawford fight with Jeff Horn. Fight that I'm very excited about. Um, well, you know what? Let me say that I'm very excited that Terence Crawford is moving up to 147 and getting a legit fight. You know, he's fighting a champion. He's fighting a bigger guy at 147, a guy that beat Manny Pacquiao. And I'm more excited to see what Terence Crawford is going to do. You know, this is where his career really begins because this is where the toughest opponents are, much tougher than 135 and 140. So I'm excited mostly because of that. All right, I'm a huge Terence Crawford supporter, but I did sleep on Jeff Horn. You know, going into the Manny Pacquiao fight. Uh, I did watch his fights leading up to that. I really wasn't that impressed with him. I wasn't expecting the fight to be that competitive, okay? But it was. And mainly because Jeff Horn had an excellent game plan, okay? He didn't go in there to lay down. He went in there with a strategy. He used his advantages well in that fight, okay? He was a bigger guy. He definitely used his size against Manny Pacquiao, which was the first smart thing to do. But he did a lot of boxing things, boxing related things that played, you know, for his advantage in that fight. You know, I thought it was a great performance by him. I scored that fight 6 rounds to 6. If you want to give Pacquiao a 2-point round for that ninth round, that whatever round that was, that he destroyed Jeff Horn, then obviously you think Manny Pacquiao won based on points. But I did think that it was a close fight. I thought that there were some swing rounds in there, but I thought it was a draw from me watching it. All right, but you know, I'm hearing what people are saying. I'm checking out what people are saying, and there are people that think Jeff Horn is going to win this fight. All right, they think that Jeff Horn is going to, you know, he's a bigger guy and he's going to create problems for Terence Crawford. I don't really think so. You know, I don't think so. And you might say that I'm sleeping on Jeff Horn again. I'm not. I'm really not. You know, I do think that he's a tough opponent. I think he's dangerous. And you know what, to be honest with you, I actually believe that he can give a lot of guys at 147 some trouble. You know, not just Terence Crawford, but, you know, I think if he were to fight a Danny Garcia, you know, I would think he would be a troubling fight for Danny Garcia as well. You know, I saw his fight with Gary Corcoran too. Uh, you know, I didn't think too much of it because I didn't really rate Gary Corcoran that high. You know, I saw some of his stuff before uh, Jeff Horn fought him, and you know, I didn't really think much of him. You know, I knew Jeff Horn was going to take that W, but this is a good fight, man. But you know, looking at the Pacquiao performance, there's a lot of things that Pacquiao does not have that Terence Crawford has. You know, Pacquiao as good. I know he's an all-time great, uh, but he's very limited compared to Terence Crawford. You know, and I know Jeff Horn is big, and I know a lot of people are the people that I've heard talk about this fight, they're talking about Jeff Horn's size. They keep bringing that up like he's a very physical fighter. I understand that. But Manny Pacquiao is not a physical fighter. Manny Pacquiao is like the smallest elite welterweight. You know, he's like one of the smallest guys. I mean, he really doesn't belong there. If we really think about it, when he went up in that weight class, we didn't think he would stand a chance up there because of the fact that he's so small. You know, and he didn't. You know, he got some incredible wins and everything, but he was a lot younger when he was being De La Hoya, when he was being Shane Mosley and Miguel Cotto. You know, when he was beating those guys, the circumstances were a lot different. You know, Jeff Horn, the way he fought Manny Pacquiao, he was being very physical with him. I mean, he was doing a lot of things. I don't want to just say, oh, it's all his size and everything. He was being very physical. All right. It was a lot of lateral movement in that fight. All right. He did not make the fight easy for Pacquiao, and I honestly don't think Pacquiao was taking him as seriously as he was, or he should have been. You know, a lot of great footwork and Jeff Horn in that fight. A lot of good combinations, you know, and a lot of holding as well. A lot of holding and leaning on Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao is not physical. You know, when Pacquiao is tying up with you, you know, he's kind of relaxed. Terence Crawford, all right, when he's tying up, he's very physical as well. I know he's not as big naturally as Jeff Horn. I understand that. But he's nowhere near as small as Manny Pacquiao is. And he's a lot more physical than Manny Pacquiao. He's very strong for the fact that he is smaller. You know? He's very strong. You know, and I don't think it's going to work in the same way that people are expecting when they talk size. I don't think it's going to work the same way. Terence Crawford is going to be tying up with you, but he's going to be pulling away from you and start throwing combinations. You know, you guys are going to be holding. These guys are going to be holding each other. Terence Crawford is going to create some space, push off, create some space, and pop, 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 pop. He's going to be throwing combinations. You know, Terence Crawford knows how to fight a physical fight. You know, he fought a physical fight against Felix Diaz. You know, and he easily neutralized him, easily with his jab. And that's the second problem, his jab. What does Jeff Horn have for Terence Crawford's jab? What does he have? Because in the Pacquiao fight, or even the Corcoran fight, it was non-existent. You know, Pacquiao always used his jab just to set up that left hand. You know, he didn't have a jab. He never had a dangerous jab. That's just not what Manny Pacquiao doesn't use his jab in the same way. Terence Crawford can outbox you straight from his jab alone. He can do that. It's a totally different style. I know they're both southpaws, Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford, but Crawford is taller. He has a longer reach. He has a crazy jab, a high volume jab at that. He destroyed Felix Diaz off his jab alone. And he could go righty to lefty at any given time. So if he feels, and you know, this is another thing with Terence Crawford. And, you know, I noticed up into, I think, the Hank Lundy fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but up into that fight, he used to always, I think, up into that fight, he used to always start out as a righty, and then he would switch to southpaw. I know he fought as a righty a lot, but honestly, most of his success and his tougher challenges is him fighting as a southpaw. You know, he's a better southpaw fighter. But he could switch it up at any given time. You know, and fight naturally from both stances. So he could make an adjustment in so many different ways. Pacquiao is very limited. As good as he is, the plan with Manny Pacquiao is to slip, counter, and to land that straight left. That's his game. That's his game. It's much easier to prepare for Manny Pacquiao, especially because he's older. The power is not there like it once was. The speed is not there like it once was. He's still very good. And I have a video on Pacquiao against Matisse coming up. I'm going to do a video on that too soon. But he's not the fighter that he was. He doesn't have the endurance that he had. And Jeff Horn leaning on him and making it such a physical fight. Pacquiao cannot fight at the same pace as he was. He fought in spurts against Jeff Horn because Jeff Horn was wearing him out. This is why there was no rematch. You know, I don't think it was smart for Pacquiao to fight this guy again. Because even though I thought it was a draw, I thought Jeff Horn had a brilliant game plan against Manny Pacquiao, who is the superior boxer in my opinion. But he's very limited, you know, and once you figure him out, you know, you're going low, you're feinting a lot, you're changing directions a lot. Jeff Horn was doing a lot of things in that ring to throw off Manny Pacquiao. But, excuse me, those same tactics are not going to work against a fighter like Terence Crawford. Crawford is he's on a different level as far as skill set is concerned. Okay, um, he's a real boxer. You know, he's an elite boxer, and you know, outside of there being maybe a headbutt or a cut that can maybe sway the pacing of the fight, I can't see Terence Crawford losing to Jeff Horn. You know, it's just nothing that I see Jeff Horn doing that can really throw off a fighter on that level. Every time Terence Crawford fought a different fighter, he's like a computer. He will adjust to whatever his opponent's bringing. And Jeff Horn, even though he's good, even though he's a big guy at the weight, he's very physical, and he's skilled. He is skilled. He's just not on Terence Crawford's level. You know, I just, nah. You know, listen, this is boxing. Upsets happen. But Jeff Horn isn't the guy. He's not the guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not that guy. He's good, and he's one of the best at the division, but he's not the guy that is going to beat Terence Crawford. You know? You can make an argument that he's Terence Crawford's best opponent. You can make the argument. I don't think so. I don't think so. But he might be. You know? I think Terence Crawford takes this. I think he's going to outbox Jeff Horn round by round. I think Jeff Horn is going to try to make it a physical fight. I don't think it's going to really work in his favor. You know, a lot of people say that Jeff Horn won because he fought a dirty fight. I don't completely agree with that. Okay, a dirty fight is like Salido against Lomachenko. You know, I don't totally agree with that. I think he made Manny Pacquiao uncomfortable, but Terence Crawford can fight that way. You know, he can fight that way. You know, holding him, you know, throwing big right hands and then coming in and holding over and over again. Terence Crawford is not gonna allow it to happen unless he wants it to happen. Terence Crawford is going to be able to adjust to this guy. And no matter what Horn does, whether he keeps in the outside fighting boxing match, he's going to lose that way. Whether he brings it on the inside and try to use his size and his strength, I don't think that's going to work neither. I think the gap in skills is just too wide. It's too wide. It's going to take more than physical strength and size to beat this guy. You know, if this was another fight with some other of the top guys in the division, this will be a different video. But Terence Crawford, he's just on a different level. You guys get my picture. You know, so I got Terence Crawford winning. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop Jeff Horn, but if he really wants to make a statement, and if he wants to make this debate between who's better between him and Errol Spence, this is a fight where he has to make a real statement, because Errol Spence going out in the UK being Kell Brook and then beating Lamont Peterson the way that he did, I think Crawford is going to make a huge statement in this fight. Okay? I think he's going to try to dominate him and try to stop him. All right? But a lot of questions is going to be answered, because we want to know, how is he going to do at the weight? How is it? I think that's the number one question. I don't think most people are not really doubting Terence Crawford's skill. And that's another, I meant to say this earlier when I was talking about his fights and his stances. I think when he was starting out as a righty, he struggled the most, like in the Gamboa fight. It wasn't until he went southpaw where he just dominated Gamboa. You know, I think the following round, the fight changed once he started fighting as a southpaw. He's a better southpaw, without a doubt. You know, we haven't seen much struggle with Terence Crawford as a southpaw. you know. And now he's just starting as a southpaw, like with every fight, you know. So anyway, I got Terence Crawford winning. I think he's gonna clearly beat Jeff Horn. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.